Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I'd be able to deliver my best videos to your inbox on a daily basis. If you like our watches, well, everything you see here can be purchased on thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing part of the AP class of 2017 and maybe the best. This watch, of course, is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Chronograph, reference 26470ST. All of that's generic. What's particular to this model that debuted last year is the vintage brown treatment, and that's AP's own term, masterfully executed with a combination of ecru tones, brown mega tapisserie dial, and luscious rose gold accents. This watch is a big bruiser with beauty. Beauty and the Beast in a single 42mm steel package. And you can see that it's 42, not including the crown guards, or chronograph pushers. On my 16cm circumference wrist, like every Royal Oak and Offshore ever made, it wears bigger than its size. So 42, but think 43, 44 even. In terms of thickness, well, it's not terribly thick. The watch is 14.6mm thick, and there is a little bit of rounded lip to the bezel, so you could fit it underneath a jacket cuff. No problem there. It's probably not going to clear a dress sleeve, however, of the shirt beneath the jacket. From lug to lug, big watch. It really spreads its wings at 54mm lug to lug across the wrist, and you can see in profile just how broad it is. What really extends the measurement, however, is the set of intermediate plots, these double links that join the strap to the case. They flare out, and you can't compress them entirely. So side to side, if you measure between those 2 points, you get a much more substantial 58.5mm, which is why I often say, if you're going to wear an Offshore on a smaller wrist, get it on a strap. And if your wrist is 14 centimeters circumference, you're going to want to accessorize this one with the AP natural latex rubber strap, which is a bit more flexible than leather. That said, this Botier treatment leather strap is softer than the more common Royal Oak Offshore hornback leather. This is a special strap equipped with this model. Botier is what they call it at Audemars Piguet, and it's a gorgeous combination of medium rectangular scale alligator leather with a soft, warm tone. It's a glossy medium brown, and then there are dark brown highlights in between the crevices of the scales. So the highlight effect is quite striking. You'll note it's sheer in profile, not folded. You can see the layers of the strap's construction, and as always with the Royal Oaks and the Offshores, strap joined to the case by screws for extra security and peace of mind. No spring bars there. On the underside, it is a very supple calfskin. This is much softer and more pliant than the hornback, and I would say that if you're gonna wear the Offshore on a leather strap on a smaller wrist like mine, this is easily the choice. I would say you should order this as an option even if you're not buying this model new. This is just a wonderful look and a wonderful feel. Simple AP satin finished steel pin buckle. You know this, it's a known quantity, easy to adjust. And of course you can change your sizing on the fly as your wrist expands or contracts. Now the case is what we've always come to expect from Audemars Piguet and the Royal Oak line, which is to say there's really no compromise in finishing quality. If you decide to step up in size and go offshore, so to speak, you still get the same handsome tapered bevels, the same immaculate character lines aligning from bezel to mid-case to case back, satin perfectly striated and parallel side to side, as well as the small highlights like the bevels of the crown guards and the shoulders of the crown and lug profiles that really help to give this watch an air of high horology. In spite of being an upscale, oversized sports watch, it has the same tangible quality, really exuding care and craft arts the same way a Royal Oak does, so no compromise if you do decide to step up to the bigger Royal Oak family. The bezel is classical Gerald Genta as executed by the 1993 overseas vision of Emmanuel Get, which is to say it's a rounded octagon inspired by the porthole of a Royal Navy warship, British Royal Navy. Polished hexagonal bezel bolts. On the Offshore they're steel, on the Royal Oak they're gold. Here you can see that they're nicely recessed, each one sunken into the bezel somewhat. That's what you want to see on these watches. because AP's threshold for replacement of a bezel is after a number of refinishings. When the bezel itself becomes level with the bolts, that's when the bezel gets replaced. Here you can see this is effectively in like new condition. The satin finish nicely contrasts with the polish of the bolts, and the dial itself is an absolute sensation. So getting nice and close, you can see it's a mega tapisserie hobnail with a little bit of a gloss finish to it, rose gold hands, rose gold chapter rings for the sub-registers, and rose gold appliques for the Arabic numerals. What you see in each of the sub-registers is a sort of concentric guilloche ajourage pattern. So there are a number of textures, tones, and reflectivity factors here, from highly reflective on the polished gold to a little bit of a muted metallic about the sub-registers. The lumen material is not simulated patina, but it is a little bit off-white. It's not the classical white or lime green luminova. It's a studied choice by Audemars Piguet that is perfectly keyed to the vintage brown theme of the dial. And you'll note there is a metallic tachymeter scale outboard for timing and gauging the speed of an object between two known points, like a standing kilometer or a standing mile. The tachymeter is really for motorsports fans who want to have a little bit of fun while watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And of course, the dial featuring the traditional sunken date, as the Offshore is a modular complication. And when we look into the date, we're looking down past the chronograph module to the Audemars Piguet manufactured base caliber beneath, but you'll note it's nicely executed. AP's magnifier is under the dial rather than atop the crystal as on a Rolex, and they've even polished the golden chapter ring for the magnifier window. Nicely done. I appreciate that. It's handsome, it's effective. In profile, of course, since 2014, the crown shoulder as well as the pushers for the Offshore have been in ceramic rather than polymer, so they don't get ragged, they don't get burnished, they don't get weary and ever have to be replaced. Highly scratch resistant and tough. Underneath the case back, Audemars Piguet manufacture movement 3126. So it's paired with a 3840 Dubois de Praz vertical clutch chronograph module. That's why the watch has a sunken date on the dial, because you can see the chronograph pushers are slightly above the center of the crown, because the chronograph module is put on top the base caliber. And the base caliber is beautiful. As you can see, 59 jewels, 365 parts, very complex. AP chose the smoother bidirectional winding over the more efficient unidirectional because it didn't want you to mistake your watch for a Valjoux 7750 type caliber. Ceramic rotor bearings, unlubricated and high efficiency, are used to recoup the efficiency of unidirectional while staying smooth and bidirectional. Coats of arms of the Audemars and Piguet family, as Audemars Piguet since 1875 has remained owned and controlled by the founding families, the oldest Swiss manufacturer that can make this boast. You'll also note that the architecture of the movement is very much in the vein of a sports watch. Let's get close and get focused, and you'll be able to see a twin-anchored balance bridge, a batwing profile. Even the bridge has been stylized. It has a Gyromax style free-sprung index, so the watch can take and hold a very precise regulation because of these eccentric balance bolts on the rim of the balance. You move them out to increase the moment of inertia, in to decrease, and that regulates the watch. It's a very shock-resistant system that takes and holds a precise regulation better than a mobile stud index. You'll also note beautifully aligned Côte de Genève across the bridges, nicely executed, black polished screw heads. It's a handsomely made movement, perlage, nicely even and laid down underneath the balance. If you can look through the balance, you would see that even the base plate is nicely executed. This is the kind of watch that justifies the purchase of a loop as an owner's accessory. 60-hour power reserve, typically about 50 to 55 in practice. 60 is the theoretical maximum for this caliber. You'll also find that it beats away at a slower rate than the old JLC base calibers. Those were 28,800 vibrations per hour. This one is 21.6 to achieve that longer power reserve. AP uses a larger balance than on the old JLC 889s to make up for some of the lost precision as a result of the slower beat rate. Hacking seconds, so you can stop the balance and synchronize to a known accurate reference time. You just saw me stop the balance a moment ago to demonstrate the hacking seconds function. And of course there is a quick set for the date, so you can rapidly cycle and correct the date should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. Screw down the crown, throw the watch on a rubber strap or a textile, and it is 100 meters water resistant, so you will truly be ready to go offshore with this baby on your wrist. See it and make it happen on our website. And we're back with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 26470ST. So vintage brown dial, but unlike many simulated patina luminova dials, this one doesn't give up any of its nighttime punch. A very functional sports watch, even with the somewhat off-white tone of its indices and hands. You can see this one with full boxes, papers, and accessories on our website.